I'm the founder of Signworld 32 years ago in Honolulu, Hawaii. Today's Zoom event, we have currently 3 Signworld owners on camera. We are hoping for our president, Jack Werner, who started as a Signworld owner, ran his own sign company for about 10 years, and then joined me at corporate staff. Subsequently, I sold the business to Jack, who's considerably younger than I am, about 6 years ago. So hopefully Jack will be joining us. Dan Werner is with us. Dan is Jack's son. Jack and Dan started in the business 25 years ago. So the 3 of us have been together for 25 years. What we're going to do is we're going to open it up to questions. So we'll start with George Sussfeld. George, you'll be first. And then Steve. Steve, if you want to fix your last name for us, that'd be good. Andrew as well. And we'll go in order of on the screen. And this is your chance. Ask that burning question, that hardball question, your greatest concern or whatever. Make it a simple, open-ended question. And then each one of our Signworld owners will answer from their perspective. So with that in mind, Dan Werner, do you want to do a couple of definitions first about printing versus sign companies and a little note on internet?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to fill in for Jack today. He needed to step away. So a couple of things. Commonly the print and the sign industry are kind of lumped together, and they're 2 totally different industries. The traditional print industry is more the business cards, the flyers, the brochures, where the medium is sort of set and there's limited creativity, and that has created commoditization within that space. And with the transitions to e-publishing, some of that marketplace has gone away. What's different about the sign industry is that everything we do is different around a brand identity, and it's actually a growing industry. It's a growing space with 2 very different product lines. The second thing to really kind of identify here is, for most of you, you've talked to either Ken, Jack, myself, you've perhaps talked to a couple owners, and you've learned that we're a very different organization and that we're not a franchise. Doesn't mean that franchising isn't a good playground. It just means that we've set ourselves up differently for a few reasons. One is people are looking for a little bit more control, a little bit more flexibility, and a little bit more scalability. And that's something that you traditionally do not find in traditional franchising. But also, our industry is not something that is franchise dominated. So it's a way for us to differentiate within our marketplace and offer something different for those that want to be in more of an independent entrepreneurial model. But it's not to say that franchising is bad, and there are a lot of great franchise models out there. So couple things to kind of clarify as we walk through some of what makes us different, makes us unique as an organization, and what has helped these owners sort of build their own little world with their unique businesses.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you. George, come off of mute. You'll be up first. 1 second though. Eddie Schroff, I got your email where you have to leave early. So Eddie, I'll let you go right after George. So Eddie, be ready with your question. George Sussfeld. George, go ahead. Throw us a question.
Yeah, so good afternoon.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, George. I apologize. My fault. Please. Let's let each one of the Signworld owners introduce themselves first. I got ahead of myself in the agenda. So Larry Foster, give us a quick bird's eye view of who you are as a Signworld owner.
All right, well, I'm Larry Foster. I'm the owner of a company called Signs and More, and I'm located in Troy, Michigan, which is about 35 miles north of Detroit. I've been in business for almost 20 years now. I have about 10 or 11 employees currently. My sales volume this year should approach somewhere between $1.7 and $1.8 million. Right now, my biggest customer, I do the signage for a company called Crunch Fitness. It's a national chain of fitness centers. And this year we will do about between $600 and $700,000 with the Crunch franchises across the country. My background, by the way, is retail. I worked for Kmart for 27 years. And when I left Kmart, I was the vice president of operations.
And started as a stock boy.
I did.
Okay. Jim Feeney, give us a bird's eye view of your business and tell us where you are.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be on the call. We are located in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. We are in Peachtree Corners. The name of our company is called Signs of Intelligence. I told my wife we were seriously looking at starting a sign company once I got out of corporate, and she said that's not too intelligent, thus Signs of Intelligence. Our footprint here is Metro Atlanta. We go all over, actually we've started to go all over the country, and you know, Larry, if I can help you with any of those crunch fitnesses, there's a ton moving here in Georgia, so let me know. But we're doing a lot more franchise business, expanding our footprint into there. We try to position ourselves not as a, and there's nothing wrong with this, like Dan said, but we're not a signorama, we're not a Fast Signs. We view those as more of a commodity sign company. People come to us when they have a problem communicating their value prop or their branding, and they want us to do it with specialty custom signs and graphics. So we're in business 5 years. As a matter of fact, last week we were 5 years old. We're expanding. We're going from a 3,000 square foot facility to a 6,000 square foot facility. And wasn't for COVID, we were on a plus run rate. The Signworld Owners has been awesome for us. They're there when you need them. If you want their help, they'll help you as much as you want to let them. So we've been very happy and satisfied with what we're doing.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Jim, I think we missed it. What was your projected gross sales for this year?
Our run rate right now puts us right around 800, 850.
Okay. Got it. All right. Okay. Michelle Mason, Houston, Texas. Michelle, tell us all about your business.
All righty. Well, I'm the baby of the group, if you will. We just barely started. My training was in 2019 in July, where we were still able to go to California and spent 2 weeks there receiving our training. Our equipment was delivered in December of 2019. We hired our first employee, Gabriel, and we took off. And then COVID hit, and we were blessed that we were busy enough. We needed to hire a second employee. And so Jesse joined the team, and my husband and I run it together. My husband's background is corporate. My background is education. Both of us found the need of signs in both of our industries, and kind of wanted to form something on our own. And so this was a good fit for us. And anyway, we're along for the ride. So we're the newest on board. So.
Okay. Well, thank you and welcome. And Dan Warner, would you give us a recap of your 10 years as a Signworld location before stepping up to corporate?
Sure. Yeah, we started our business back in 1995 and ran that for a little over 10 years. Sold the business in the early parts of 2006. When we started, we were in 1,200 square feet of what was quasi retail space. It was a very different approach back then, and ended up in a little over 4,000 square feet of commercial space. At the height of the business, we were running about 1.4 million in revenue. And when we sold it, we received 3 all-cash offers, literally within 30 days of listing the business, and then transitioned over to the corporate side in late 2006, and here we are today.
Good. All right. Okay, George Sussrow, I'm sorry. Forgive me, please, but we're ready for you now, George. So go ahead.
All right, Ken. Thank you. And so I'm George Sussrow. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm a displaced corporate employee, and I'm considering Signworld as my next move. And I've had the pleasure of speaking with 6 owners between last week and this week, including Larry Foster. So thank you to Larry. And I guess my question for the panel is, as a new owner, what are the keys to really driving sales once I open the doors. And I know website's important, and I've heard that, a lot. Search engine optimization, I've heard that a lot. So I was just wondering if there are other things, or maybe to expand on those couple topics from the panel, especially as I consider, launching here sometime in 2021.
Okay. Michelle, ladies first, since you're in the
Right.
middle of what George would say, launch.
Okay.
What's working for you? In order, what's working for you?
You bet. So initially, we're brand new. And so we obviously need to focus on our website. We need to have an SEO. We need to have pay-per-clicks. But once that is out and running, our biggest customer are our referrals. And so you need to do the job well. And then your customers sell you because you were responsive. You promised what you said you would deliver. And so anyway, that seems to be what's bringing our customers back, is the referrals.
Okay. Jim Feeney, in the beginning, what worked for you? And if more than one, tell us in priority order. Website.
Sure. There are 4 legs to the growth engine that we figured out. Number 1 is start marketing and selling your business now if you're going to do it. So a website SEO is great. That's, your entree into the game. You have to have that. Networking for us was very big. Now, whether or not that's a BNI or a Power Corp, it's up to you. I didn't find a lot of opportunities in those areas, but the Rotary clubs and the chambers have helped us tremendously. Number 3, like Michelle said, is referrals. Every time we get an order and every time we close the order, we ask someone, hey, do you know of anybody else that needs a sign? Or, we kind of end with, you don't know you need a sign till you need a sign. So when you do, please remember us. And then the last thing, and I really want to emphasize this for us, which has helped us, is old-fashioned guerrilla marketing. You need to get out there. There's a lot of centers out there. We put clings on windows and say, hey, when you're opening your business, don't forget about us. And, just glad handing, cold calls. A lot of people don't like doing that. I like doing it. It's a chance to meet people and stuff. So if you follow that strategy with those 4 initiatives, your business will get up and running. So.
Okay. Jim, we're experiencing a little bit of audio problem with you. You kind of come in and go out. I don't know if there's anything you could do at your end. Okay, to my panel, we need the shorter answers or we'll never get through everybody. So succinct answers. Larry Foster, in the beginning, what are the things you did in priority order?
When I started, there was no website. So and now I think the website is so critical, and I think everybody realizes that. But networking is the one thing that you hit the ground running. I really emphasize BNI, Business Networking International. That's all they do is networking. And if you're successful with them, that'll get you started. And then work on the referrals, and just like Jim said, you need to really ask people to refer you if they liked what you did and they're going to like what you did. So referrals.
Okay. Dan Werner?
Not much to add. I think the owners covered it well. The only thing I would emphasize is make sure you are out of the office every day, getting in front of people, and that's the biggest part of it. So there's lots of ways to prospect. As long as you're in front of people, you've got an opportunity.
And I'll agree with everybody. It's to me, it's all in the referral, that you figure out who your customer knows, the next person up the ladder, the bigger customer, and have them refer you to them. Matt Lockney. Matt, come off of mute. Go ahead.
I am off mute, I hope.
You are.
My question is, can somebody comfort me? I'm having anxiety, if you will, about, I know if I do this, I'm going to go to training, but coming back home and actually making signs, which I know absolutely nothing about. It is the learning. I guess it's all tackleable, but can someone convince me of that?
Okay, well, I'll start out by saying, first of all, we're going to help you. We, Signworld, will help you find that first employee, an experienced sign maker, someone who's been there and done it. They know the ropes and they're going to be good. We're going to interview them. We're going to test them. We're going to send them down the street to work for another Signworld owner to evaluate them. And then once you hire them, we're going to send a guy to your place for 3 days to train both you and your sign maker on your brand new equipment. So before you open the door, there's a lot of training, 5 weeks of training before you open up. But Larry Foster, if you can roll back the time and your first day and making signs, what was your confidence level like? What was how do you calm Matt down?
I can tell you that out of 300 and whatever it is, 350 owners, I haven't heard of one yet that has sign background in their repertoire. So we've all started out from the same position, and it's not so much about this making of signs and doing that. You'll learn that very well in training. It's more the business side, and you focus on the business and growing the business, and whether you're selling pencils or signs, it doesn't matter. You focus on the business.
Jim Feeney, your thoughts?
Larry's 100% correct. It's, you know, you're not selling a sign, you're selling who you are. You're selling the service. And people are going to come to you because of who you are. So if you have enough confidence in yourself, you'll be successful.
And Michelle?
I think our biggest fear was the same fears as you had. We really didn't know how to manufacture and install and so forth, but our graphic artist came with all of that background. He had worked for several sign companies. He had the experience, and so he was tutoring us. We have the upper end of leadership and management, so we shared that with him, and together we're a team. But the biggest thing is you just need to jump in and get wet. My biggest education is going through the process of getting a bid, following it through, getting the deposit, installing it, then reaching out and getting a referral and thanking them.
Thanks, Michelle. Dan Werner?
The only thing I would add is your role as the owner is really more in a strategic role. You're hiring for the tactical efforts. So you're going to bring in sign makers who know exactly what they're doing, how to make the product, how to source the materials. There's some elements of that you'll oversee, but at the end of the day, the training that's provided and the guidance that you'll get from other owners as you go through those early stages will more than compensate for the deficiencies that you come in with early on.
Okay. Andrew, come off of mute. What's your last name again, Andrew?
It's Caldwell. Unfortunately, I'm unable to update it on the screen here. I'm not seeing the 3 dots, so apologies, guys. But everybody, thank you for your time today. Very interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Can you guys share with me, what would you say is the biggest lesson you learned in that first 6 months to 12 months of starting your business?
Larry Foster, biggest lesson first 6 months.
I think the thing for me was I was just amazed at some of the jobs that we were able to do. When you start out, you do small jobs, coroplast signs, banners, and very quickly you're doing large projects and you're worried about them, obviously. And you get through it and you're so proud of what you've done. So the big jobs.
Jim Feeney, first 6 months, biggest surprise.
I would like to have marketed the company earlier and more often. And the biggest surprise for me was the amount of people that we spoke to that said, wow, you guys are calling us back. I can't tell you how many other companies we've called that don't call us back. So that was the eye-opening.
Michelle, first 6 months, biggest eye-opener.
I think you need to be teachable as an individual. Our biggest eye-opener is that we're busy. Everyone needs a sign in some capacity, and they're blown away at what we could do. When they walk in our office and see our showroom, it's mind-boggling to them, all the resources that we have. And so the need is out there. It's just being responsive and calling them back.
And Dan, what would you say the other new Signworld owners would say biggest surprise in the first 6 months?
I think a lot of it is, the sheer demand for the product. There is lots of opportunity out there. But I think second to that would be the ineptitude of the competition. It seems like there's a lot of competitors out there, but when you really start to boil it down and you see that there are a lot of mom and pop type businesses where the owner is also the technician, they're more self-employment opportunities than they are businesses. And so you really start to weed out who can service those bigger customers and who can't. And that becomes, something that adds to that sheer level of demand.
Okay. Eddie, did I screw up? I didn't give Eddie his, or did you have it? Go ahead, Eddie.
That's okay. I would just ask, what are your day-to-day routines? How much time do you spend on what?
Okay, Larry Foster, what's your day like? Average day, average month?
Pretty straightforward. In the morning at 8 o'clock, we have a general meeting with everybody to set the priorities, to make sure that everybody's clear. After the meeting, I will make any of the outgoing phone calls that I have to make. I like to visit customers, whether it be new customers or existing customers, between 10 and 2, just easier to travel during those hours. After that, I get back, I will write up any new jobs that I saw, make any outgoing phone calls, and then late in the day, I do my accounting, 15 minutes worth of accounting and close the day, and that's about it.
And how many days a week do you play golf?
I play golf 3 days a week.
Okay.
I played this
Jim
morning.
Feeney, tell us your average day.
Well, I'm very lucky. I have a great team. And I think that's the first thing that you got to look at is put together a good team. So we have our production meetings twice a week. I'm usually in here by 7:30, 8 o'clock, getting the day going. I'll spend most of the afternoon out calling on customers, finding new targets, coming back in and wrapping up the day with the team, putting ourselves in a position to start and do better the next day. I wish I could play golf 3 days a week.
Michelle, what's the average day like?
Alrighty. My husband and I get here early because we've got kids that are still in school. So once they're out their door, we're in. So we actually beat our designer and graphic artist. Gives my husband and I to kind of go through things we need to knock off. Once our employees get in, we'll have a meeting, kind of go over the customers we need to address first, kind of look at the week. We have a 30-day, 60-day, and a 90-day plan with all of our customers. For myself, I do emails, social media, I do all the networking, I'll do customer follow-up, invoicing, and anyway, it's Groundhog Day, repeat, repeat, repeat.
And how much of the day does your husband spend outside the office going to customers and project sites?
Almost daily, weather permitting on some issues, but almost daily. He and our one of our employees, we've got two for sales.
Is that half of his day, all of his day?
A good 2-3 hours if it's close by. It could be 5 to 6 if he has a drive.
Okay, so half his day on average. Dan, your thoughts?
I think you've heard it pretty clearly from the owners. It's about half your day out of the office, meeting with customers, doing site surveys, customer visits, and then networking groups. And then the other half, you're doing, more operational stuff within the office, overseeing project timelines and quoting and following up on orders.
Okay. Kevin and Meredith, come off of mute.
Hello, hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, first off, no real questions, just some background. I was actually similar to, I forget who the first person who talked was, Larry, just kind of downsizing the corporate world. I was vice president of marketing and entertainment at Lionsgate, working on film and TV. I used to actually hire, sign companies to build Comic-Con booths and big giant billboards for artists. I think just the only question I've had, it's just, Larry, you said something earlier, PMI is a goods resource or something like that. I didn't hear what the acronym that you had used. And then other than that, just really just listening through osmosis. Dan and I just talked for the first time last week and just still going through all the initial paperwork.
It's BNI, B like boy, Business Networking International.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Rotary Club. They have chapters everywhere. So if you're in Detroit, Michigan, there's probably 15 BNI chapters, right, Larry?
Yes. Right. And then just the comment in talking to friends about, these initial conversations I'm having, just to what a couple people said. One guy said, "Hey, I have a sign guy who's never called me back." So it does seem like that's rather common. And then Larry, just FYI, I had an office in Troy, Michigan on Big Beaver Road for a while. So
Perfect. Very close to me.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Shane Weddle. Shane, come off of mute. Go ahead, Shane.
And my question is, it seems like most owners state that 80% of their business comes from the top 20 to 30 customers that they have. My question is, once you've established one of those large customers, what does your communication look like to keep that customer engaged to continue to get that repeat business?
Larry Foster, does 80% of your gross annual sales come from 20 people or less?
Less in my case. So we get more sales from less people.
How many customers make 80%?
I would say that 80% of my sales probably come from 12 or 13 customers.
Okay, so let's talk about the top one or two. How do you maintain the communications? What is it that you do? Why do they keep coming back?
Well, it's exactly what I've heard a couple of times. You do what you promise. They trust you. Whether I'm doing the Crunch Fitnesses, and I'm doing them for individual franchise owners, but I also am working through their corporate because they establish guidelines. So I have to be reliable, and I am. So corporate knows that. They want me to do their franchises. And it doesn't matter whether it's a franchise or if it's an individual business. The dependability is what matters. And they have to like to do business with you.
Okay, Jim Feeney, why do your top customers keep coming back to you?
You don't treat them like customers. You treat them as more as partners in our business. When they call, we drop what we're doing. We always move them ahead of the line. If they need something, we probably talk to them on average, either my wife or I do, once or twice a week. And you just got to wrap your arms around them and take care of them. And there are different people within the organizations that we deal with that branch out and have authority to order stuff. And when they call, you just got to be there. But don't treat them like a customer. Treat them like a partner and someone that's an integral part of your business.
Thanks, Jim. Michelle.
We try to have our business look like a one-stop shop. We just don't specialize in one particular type of signage, but we have a variety of them. And so that they know they could come to us, we help them problem solve, and we market their business and their logo. And every customer is important. So you need to treat each of them with the same respect that you would, your biggest clients, and they keep on coming back.
Dan Werner?
I think the biggest thing is, when they call, you answer the phone. When they have a request, you follow up. And then more importantly, you follow through. And that's way more than most of your competitors are going to do. But you do, like Jim said, have to treat them like a partner. So it's transitioning that speech from them being customers to them being clients. And now you're really elevating that level of service to build your business around the customers that you want to service. But with that, that's what keeps them coming back, because they know when dealing with you, you've got everything under control, and that's one less headache they have to deal with in their sign purchasing experience. So it's all about experience.
And I'll add that, this is a relationship business with those top 20. So, you're going to go out to lunch with them. You're going to play golf with them. You're going to go to the ball game with them. You're going to get together at the holidays. So you're going to become friends with your top 20 customers. Marley Hubbard. Marley, come off of mute. Hello, Marley. Marley Hubbard, are you there?
Sorry, this is not Marley. This is Tanya Hubbard. And
Okay.
I'm just on my daughter's account. I don't really have any questions. I'm just kind of listening for today. I'm just starting this process. So I appreciate all of the perspective. And I think that everyone's already asked a lot of the questions I had.
Okay. Pat Schneider. Pat, come off of mute. Pat Schneider. Hello, Pat. Roy D. Roy, are you there?
I am.
Go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, no, one of my things as I go through this process is I'm curious about, what are some of the, early mistakes, I guess, the business owners on the panel have made, what was scary about it, and how did they overcome it with their customers to fix things and make things better.
Okay, Larry Foster, in the early days, did you make any mistakes?
I did. I made plenty of mistakes. But the first mistake I made was not listening. Ken told me right from the get-go, if I knew I was going to go into the business, get business cards made up, talk to anybody that you meet, anybody you know, that you were going into the business, you'd appreciate an opportunity, and I didn't do it. I was more focused on the operational side, getting my business ready, getting the building ready. So when the grand opening came, it was a lonely day, and I needed to start promoting my business early.
And Jim Feeney, your thoughts?
I'll tell you, we still make mistakes, and you're always going to make mistakes if you're a successful Signworld owner. So don't be afraid to admit that you made it, learn from it, be honest with your customer, and move on. If you're not making mistakes, you're not successful. So as long as they're not repeatable and too expensive, then you'll be fine. But you gotta learn from them.
Michelle?
All right, so each mistake is a learning experience for each person in your office. And we all make different mistakes, but we can learn from them and grow. Also, I think you need to have your procedures in place. So when mistakes happen, look at your procedures.
Okay, and Dan?
Yeah, I'll echo a lot of what the owner said here, but I'll take it a little bit differently because I help a lot of the new owners through that first 6-month period of getting the doors open. There are mistakes that you're going to make every day in what you do because that's just the nature of the beast of custom manufacturing. You're going to learn new ways to do things, and much like Jim said, if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying, you're not going to be successful. You're getting too close and too locked into a comfort zone that isn't going to allow you to expand your business. So making mistakes is a daily part of the business. But I think the biggest mistake that new owners make in the launch of their business is there's not enough emphasis put on those marketing activities early on, because like Larry, there's a lot of emphasis on systems and procedures and getting that locked down internally, that you sort of pull yourself away from some of the marketing. But you're starting up a new business, you're starting up a new brand, you have to launch with the right marketing attack that's going to get those people, calling your number and following up with you to take those orders. So that would be my feedback on that. Is the one mistake to avoid is make sure that you're putting the right efforts into marketing.
My answer would be, if you could poll all 354 Signworld owners and ask them what would they do differently, they all would say they would go into business for themselves sooner in life. Larry, would you agree with that? Jim Feeney, Michelle?
100%.
Okay. So if you're going to do it, don't wait until you're in your 50s and your 60s. Do it now. Jay Austin. Jay, come off of mute. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Ken, and really team. I appreciate this. Is really good, very helpful for me as I consider this as a potential option for me. I'm also a displaced corporate person, worked in engineering and maintenance, production, leadership roles through the years in the manufacturing and distribution environment. One of the big questions I guess I have is around training. It sounds like you guys have a really pretty phenomenal upfront training program, which is great to hear. And I didn't realize, Ken, you talked about, one of you did, talked about, maybe it was Dan, that you're actually going to help us place that first employee. That's also good to know that you come alongside us on that. Question, I guess, really is in year 2 or 5, as they bring on new folks, assuming we continue to grow. I'm sure there's some train the trainer right at that point. You probably have a lot of internal expertise, but if there's a need for ongoing training, let's just say there's a shift in technology, how does that work? And to what extent do we still have resources there from Signworld?
Dan, why don't you give them a quick gloss over of all the training, including there's training every day of the week. Jay, training every day of the week. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so let's kind of gloss over that. So first off, the initial training is about 5 weeks worth of training, 4.5 weeks. There's 1 week dedicated to business operations, sales, and marketing. There's a week dedicated to the technical side, utilizing the equipment, learning the software, operations of it, management of it, maintenance of the equipment. There's another week of on-the-job training that you'll do at other Signworld locations, learning their systems and how they operate to be able to piece some of that together for how you want your operation to look. There's about a week's worth of time spent on Corebridge, which is our business management software program, to get deep into that and understand how that is utilized. And then there is 3 days of on-site training that will happen in your facility, where we'll send a trainer out to set up your equipment and then give you and your employees some advanced training on that equipment to make sure that you are fully operational and ready to go. After that, there's a number of additional elements, whether it's sales training. There's a 2-year program where you'll be on a call every Monday for 2 years with a group of other owners and a trainer. Ken is one of the trainers on those classes, and you're working through sales strategies to develop new business. There's also a new owner call that I lead that we're on for the first 6 months after opening that works through a lot of the ramp-up issues and things that you're facing early on to help you have a little bit more success in those early days. But you'll also then become a part of a mastermind group. And these are groups of 8 to 10 owners that meet together on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And you're sort of helping each other. You become a peer-to-peer accountability group in what you're doing, which then leads into the ad hoc training and support that's there, whether it's stuff that we're doing on a group setting or it's stuff that's being done individually for each owner. That can be in a number of different areas, whether it's business operations, it's sales and marketing, it's internet marketing, it's technical support for both you and your employees. Those are things that happen on a regular daily basis. But then there's also daily webinars. And these don't exactly happen daily, but over the course of the year, there's roughly 1 hour of live webinar-based training available to every owner in the system. And you can participate in these as you please. Some of them are on repeat, some of them are one-time offerings, but in those cases, those are recorded and then we throw them out on YouTube as a training opportunity for video on demand. But to kind of extend to your question there about bringing in additional employees, there's lots of ways that can happen. One is you will have kind of that train the trainer type of, or train the trainee type of situation where your staff is actually training your new employees that you bring in who already still have some level of a skill set. It's just a matter of training them on your systems to bring them up to speed. But also our VP of Technology, Terry Lee, will also spend time with that employee to make sure that they are up to the task in color management, utilizing the RIP softwares, utilizing the equipment and management maintenance of that equipment. So there's lots of training out there, including a very passive way of training, which is utilizing our owners forum, the ability to ask questions and receive real-time responses to your questions through that forum. But then one of the things that we all sort of missed this year, we did it virtually. It's our annual conference. It's a 3-day get together with all the owners where you're getting 30 hours worth of seminars over the 3 days, opportunity to get in front of our preferred partners and showcase those products and services that are going to help you service your customers. But there's a lot of ongoing and daily training, whether it's stuff that's scheduled into the calendar or it's stuff that's needed on a on-demand basis that'll be handled more in a one-on-one situation based on what you need at that time.
Okay. And not to mention that our top technical guy can take over your computer, Jane, so he could be working with your sign maker and actually show him what to do by taking over your computer. The other thing is next day on-site service. So if anything goes wrong, we'll have a technician out to you next day. That's all part of the service agreement. Okay, 713 area code on the phone. Are you there? Maybe tell us your name. 713-302.
Ken, I'm going to interrupt just for a second. I have a few slideshows that I'm going to show the group. 3 different slideshows. One is kind of explaining the difference of projects of signs that everyone can make to kind of broaden that spectrum and really enhance the fact that we do anything from on the floor, on the window, big monument signs, and etc. Next slideshow is going to be the wall of fame that we have in our corporate headquarters office here in Southern California. So you'll get a look at the big projects we do. And then next is going to be just meeting a few of the owners and just seeing how each location is different and set up however you like. And then while this is going, there's no sound to these, so we're going to continue on the questions. So Ken, go ahead and continue, and I'll pull up these slideshows.
Okay, so we've had a round all the way around. So rather than going in order, if you have another question, be ready. I'm going to ask a question first, and then whoever is ready, the simplest way for me to know is for you to just come off of mute, and then I can see that you're off of mute and I'll call on you. But I have a question to Larry, to Jim Feeney, to Michelle. In this COVID times, what's business been like? Larry, are you, is business normal? Are you having your better months than ever?
Right now, we are busier than we've ever been. We managed to go through COVID. We were okay. We dropped a lot. The first month, we dropped 90-some%. But I kept about 1/3 of my staff. We reported daily on short shifts and kept in contact with our customers. And we are currently up 5% for the year. And the last 4 months looks like it's going to be phenomenal.
So in the worst of it, some employees that you said they didn't come to work, they were working from home, but did you have to actually stop payroll at all, Larry, for anybody?
No, I had payroll going all the time. I did have about 8 people that I put on unemployment for about 2 months.
Okay. Jim Feeney, in the COVID time, is it business as usual? Is business better than ever? What's happening right now?
We were real lucky. We got some PPE. We hired another resource. We quickly turned to supplying our customers with social distancing collateral. So we did not lose any orders. We had some big orders put on hold, but we were able to supplement that with some of the social distancing, floor decals, pull-up banners and stuff like that. So net, we were okay.
Michelle.
We were so busy, we hired a new employee. Our top 3 months were April, June, and July. So we stayed busy, and we weren't doing COVID stuff. We were just, doing regular signs for regular businesses so they could be noticed.
Okay. Does anybody on the call have a question? Just take yourself off of mute and or just speak up. Go ahead, speak up. Tell us who you are.
Hey, Ken, this is Andrew. Just quickly, looking at the slides that are going through, are all of these signs typically made using that initial package of equipment that's being purchased, or are these type of signs being made with additional equipment that has to be purchased further down the road? Thanks.
Good question. With the startup package of equipment, you will manufacture inside your facility around 75 to 80% of all your business. 20%, 25% of your business, you do not have the right equipment. You do not want to afford it in the very beginning. You will use either another Signworld owner down the street who has purchased some more advanced equipment, or one of our 75 suppliers who will assist you in the project. As time goes on and you see the financial benefit, you too will buy more advanced equipment. And that's how we Signworld make money. We sell about 25 different pieces of add-on equipment that you might want to buy. Larry Foster, over and above how long did the startup package last you? And then how soon did you start to buy more equipment?
The equipment, the original package lasted 5 years. And the second piece of equipment that I bought, big piece of equipment, was another printer. I had it delivered to my second location. So it was I know exactly it was 5 years.
Jim Feeney, excuse me. Jim Feeney, 5 years, 5 years in
5
business.
years.
Have you bought anything?
Yep. We're looking now, I'm working with Dan. The previous question about training, Signworld never leaves you. So even though we're in business for 5 years, I can pick up the phone. I call Dan, I call Jack, and Sherry, and I need anything, they're going to be there for us. That's number one. Number two is I'm working with Dan now, and we're buying a bigger plotter. So it's taken us 5 years, but we're looking at a plotter, then maybe a router and a flatbed.
And Michelle, not even a year in business. Have you bought anything else?
We have. One of our very first purchases was a panel saw so that we could cut down our substrates to the sizes that we want. We also needed a trailer so we could transport the signs for installation. But currently, we're actually looking at a router. We've had a lot of jobs in this area. And anyway, that may be our next big purchase in the next couple of months.
How much did you spend on a panel saw?
We bought it used. So it was very affordable. I don't have a number in my head right now, but we bought the panel saw and the trailer used from another sign company.
Yeah. Panel saws are very inexpensive, folks. We're talking around $1,000.
We paid less, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, anybody else have a question? Just go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question, Ken. This is Shane.
Sure, Shane. Go ahead, Shane.
Hey, Michelle brought up a good point. I've thought about this, but I didn't think about asking this question until she brought it up. She said that one of the purchases they recently bought was a trailer. When I start this business, I'll have my personal truck that I plan to use. It's a regular half-ton truck that I plan to use. But what other kind of vehicles or trailers have the other owners purchased? And how did they start with their own personal truck if they did?
Okay. You don't need any special vehicle in the beginning. But over time, you may decide to buy different vehicles. Larry Foster, what do you drive today? Your personal vehicle? You're on mute, Larry. Come off of mute.
There we
Okay.
go. I drive a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And when I started, I did not have a truck. I think probably 3 or 4 months after I opened, I bought a used truck from my father and used that. But one of my employees had a pickup truck, and we probably used that more than mine.
Okay. Jim Feeney, what do you drive?
I drive an F-150. I do a lot of deliveries, and I use it as a showpiece. We wrapped it carbon black with our logo on it, so we show people that we can do vehicle wraps with it. We also have 2 other trucks that our installers use, go out on installs.
But day one, what did you start with? Did you buy any special vehicles day one, 5 years ago?
I used my own truck, and like I said, we wrapped it, so no, I did not.
Okay. Michelle Mason, did you buy any special vehicles day one? What do you guys use?
No, we're using our current cars.
Okay. All right. Anybody else with a question? Go ahead. Come off of mute. All right. Dan Werner, do you have any questions to ask the panel?
Yeah. So, one of the big questions everybody has is around internet marketing. So currently today, what are each of you doing with your internet marketing campaigns, and how much of your new business is coming as a result of that digital marketing?
So Larry Foster, what % of your new business, not your repeat business, what % of your new business comes from the internet, from your website?
About 75%.
Okay. And how much money do you spend a month on website internet?
Oh, about $1,800.
Okay. Jim Feeney, what % of your new business, not your repeat, but your new business comes from the website internet?
About 10%.
Okay.
We spend, like Larry said, right around $1,200 to $1,800 a month. We're also getting now in a lot of digital marketing.
So if only 10% of your new business is coming from the website internet, where's the other 90% coming from? You're on mute, Jim. Jim, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Referrals, repeat business, and me going out and finding it.
Okay, but the question was not including your repeat business, not your repeat business, just your new business, customers you never met. Next month, what % will come from the internet? What % will come from repeat?
You know, a lot of our business does not come. I mean, we have a very effective SEO, and we're in major markets where, you know, we have a good LPO landing page and stuff. We're up high. But a lot of our business is a referral and me going out and finding it.
Okay. Michelle Mason, what % of your new business comes from your website internet?
Almost all of it. I mean, we'd say about 95%.
Okay.
We get calls all the time off of our website and click ads. Right now, we spend about $1,000 for SEO and $700 for pay-per-click.
Okay. And Dan, you want to highlight for us some of our secret sauce, what relative to website internet?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. You know, a lot of the owners are right around the recommended budget. You know, for most operations, it's about $2,000 a month in that marketing campaign. But what that equates to is a multi-pronged effort of search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, social media usage, content creation, both on the written side as well as on the visual side. So blogging and videos posted to YouTube, pictures being optimized and submitted to your website so that they're found by Google and brought into Google Images. And then it's just the regular daily activity that goes along with those efforts that ultimately increases that search engine optimization to a point where you're not just showing up on page one and you know, working your way towards the top. It's really the effort of getting to page one and taking over page one. And so the goal behind the program, which happens in most markets when it's being used effectively, is you're not just ending up once, you're showing up 3, 4, 5, and in some cases 10 times on that first page of that Google search. That allows for a lot of brand recognition and reinforcement of your brand. But more importantly, it pushes your competitors off of the search page onto page 2 where not a lot of searchers go. So it helps to direct a lot of that business and that activity to your website. And then it's a matter of conversion at that point. But there's a lot that goes into it. The key to it is you get to participate as much or as little in that as you want. We have partners in place that really can handle everything from start to finish, but we also have owners that have chosen to sort of take on those efforts on their own and keep those programs running internally. But it gives you the ability to kind of set those programs up in a way that's most effective for you based on how much you want to have your hand in those efforts.
Okay. Well, we're almost to the hour. I want to thank our panel, Larry Foster, Jim Feeney, Michelle Mason. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to join us. To all of our guests today, we hope it was beneficial and that you learned some things. If you'd like to continue the process, get a hold of either Jack Werner, Dan Werner, or myself as appropriate. And we have a Discovery Day coming up Friday, October 16th. Our next webinar is, who's got it handy? Dan?
It is October 14th.
October. So we have a 1-hour webinar just like this on October 14th. We have a Discovery Day on October 16th. Dan, you want to give us 1 minute on what that entails?
Sure. The Discovery Day is really, it's something for those that have kind of worked through their process. They've talked to a number of owners. They've perhaps visited an operation or two, had a number of calls to kind of really narrow down your short list of what you're looking for. But when we get to that Discovery Day, there's a lot that we do, and it's a full day in front of your computer. You have a little bit of Zoom fatigue at the end of the day, but we have 3 tours set up where we go in virtually to an operation, interview that owner, and then get a tour of their facility. So you get a feel for how they are set up, which then leads into another panel, sort of like today's panel conversation, where we have a panel of owners who join in to share their feedback based on their experiences and the questions that you have. And then we work through other aspects of it. And we go through technical overviews of what is the equipment, what is its capabilities, and what's our job in R&D to come with that next level of technology as the industry grows, to also then talking about what we do in digital marketing to generate that business through your website and your digital presence, to some other activities and items that are really more appropriate towards the end of the process. So there's a lot that we go through, but it's a full intensive day of creating not only a deeper level of discovery, but more importantly, a deeper level of validation as you work through it.
Okay. Well, again, thank you everybody for joining us, and to our panel, thanks again. Bye-bye, everybody.